Hey, what's up guys? This is Kevin the Tech Ninja, and today we're taking a look at the LG G Watch Sport. Now I've worn this watch for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, and just using it as my everyday watch. Now I do come from the Samsung family of wearables, so I have that experience, and I have the original G Watch R as well. So I've been with Android Wear for a couple years. I've been using Samsung for about a year, and now I'm back to Android 2.0. So we're going to talk about Android 2.0, how it compares to Samsung, and also has Android 2.0 matured enough to be something that I wear every single day. And before I begin this video, I do want to give a shout out to AT&T, as they're the ones that actually sent this watch to me. And also this does have connectivity with a SIM card into it. So I'm going to talk about making and taking calls and using this as a standalone device. If you're ready like I'm ready, hang on to your butts, boys and girls. This is the LG G Watch Sport review. Alright guys, as I said in the intro, I've used this watch for about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and it's been something that I wore every single day on my wrist. Half the time I had the cellular turned on and half I had it turned off. Now there was a significant battery reduction when you had cellular turned on. So overall, when it comes to battery on a smartwatch, that's kind of where I want to start, because I don't like having to charge things over and over again. And for me, when I take my smartwatch out of town, it becomes a hassle to remember to charge it overnight and bring an extra charger. So I did conservatively have around 2 days of battery life without cellular turned on, but when I had cellular turned on, it pretty much cut my battery life in half. So if you do plan to have a SIM card in your watch, like if you get it from AT&T, just know it is going to cut down your battery life unless you turn cellular off. Now the G Watch Sport is a pretty big watch. Now I'm a bigger dude, I am 6'2", so it doesn't look too big on my wrist, but for a lot of people it will be a pretty large watch. It's also pretty thick because it has a lot of things built in. It has the heart rate sensor, has a spot for the SIM card, and also a couple other things, and it also has the dial that kind of sticks off. But if you compare it to the Frontier watch, which is my main watch from Samsung, you can see that it's not that much bigger and it looks very comparable, which isn't bad. But that crown that sticks out is something that does make it seem to be a lot bigger, but for me, it just wasn't a big deal at all. Now, as far as price, you're going to spend $350 to pick one of these up brand new, which is cheaper than the Apple Watch for the most part. And it's also around the same price as the Frontier from Samsung, although it just had a price adjustment. But it is pretty much on the high-end version when it comes to smartwatch as far as what you're going to pay. Now inside it does have LTE, NFC, GPS, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. Now the LTE is nice because it gives you independent access to the internet, so messages, notifications, and any of that stuff actually come in no matter where you're at. And also NFC built in, meaning you can use Android Pay to buy things. Now the difference between Android Pay and Samsung Pay works on non-smart terminals. It has this little magnet on there, so it emulates an actual card. So that's the difference. When you use Android Pay, you have to find the terminals that actually have the readers for Android Pay. But what's also nice about having built-in cellular is that if you use GPS, if you use maps, if you go for a run, you can keep all that stuff connected while you're not near your device, which is actually pretty cool. I found myself a couple times just forgetting my phone and going out driving, and I still had access to notifications, still had access to maps and everything like that, which was pretty cool. Also, you can turn on call forwarding, so if someone did call my phone, it will actually ring to my watch and I can actually hold a conversation. Now, talking on the watch to me is still a weird thing, but I've done it a couple times and it was convenient, and the person actually heard me. So it's not a big deal talking on my wrist, but it's something I really don't want to do because holding my wrist up like this is kind of awkward. Now, sort of back to the hardware, the Watch Sport has a 1.3-inch 480 by 480p OLED display. It is Gorilla Glass 3, and inside is a 1.1 gigahertz Snapdragon Wear 2100, 768 gigabytes of RAM, 4 gigabyte of storage, and 403 milliamp battery. So as far as specs, it is one of the beefier watches out there, but all the watches coming out are going to be pretty much the same with specs, and performance is great. It is lag free. It looks great when you go through your applications. It looks smooth, and notifications coming in, flicking, swiping, all that stuff is really smooth, and it's a lot smoother than my G Watch R, and it makes Android Wear look like a more polished OS versus kind of like a beta clunky software that we saw before. But Android Wear 2.0 still has bugs where you click on an app or you go into a screen and the screen just goes black. This happens to me all the time. It happens to me actually several times a day. And it's to the point where I expect it to happen, and it's pretty annoying. Now, as far as the crown, I just don't like how LG has implemented the use of the crown. It feels like that should be an OK button and not a home button. So that really is annoying. I mean, you hit it to go into your apps, you scroll through your apps, and then you press it again, and then it takes you back to the home screen. It feels like it should be selecting the app you have highlighted. Otherwise, you're actually tapping back on the app to actually get into it. Pretty annoying to me, but it's not something that kills the experience of the phone. Now, as far as applications, there's not that many standalone apps, but it's still notification based, which I think is actually pretty cool. I still like notification based things. So let's say you're listening to music on Spotify. What's going to happen is you're going to have a Spotify widget pop up where you can control the music, and you can do a couple things like switch tracks, anything you can do on your phone, versus Samsung, which has a Spotify app, but you need to go into the app and it doesn't control the music actually on the phone all the way. And it becomes really awkward with Samsung because it has standalone apps versus notifications, and it gets weird. But Android Wear does a great job at giving you notifications, allowing you to interact with notifications. Like Hangouts, you can actually go to Hangouts, you can read your messages, you can compose a new message, and you can actually reply back to the message using voice, using text, which is really hard to type on, or you can draw emojis if that's what you want to do. But it does give you options to reply, and it works more than just Hangouts. It works with Hangouts, WhatsApp, and all the main and popular messaging services. Now, a lot of people like to say that the G Watch is ugly. I don't think it's an ugly watch, but what I do think the G Watch is, I think it's just a reference device. I mean, you can't even change the watch bands easily. Watch bands are not compatible with other ones versus other watches on the market. You can swap the watch bands out like it's no big deal. So that's one thing that kind of bums me out about this watch. It feels like you're pretty much stuck with the way it is, and to me, it's just not the prettiest thing in the world. It's not ugly, but it's just meh. But what I think this watch is, it's a reference for Android Wear 2.0. We're going to see more watches coming out. We're going to see something from Huawei really soon. We're going to see Moto 360 version 3 come out and all those things. So I think this is just kind of a reference watch to get hardware out there, kind of like the Nexus program was, especially back with like the Nexus 1, the Nexus 3, and Galaxy Nexus. All those phones were sort of reference devices. It wasn't really about the hardware, it was about the software. And I kind of feel that that's the same with this G Watch. The G Watch is nice, it has tons of sensors, but I feel like execution just wasn't there. It lacks the punch and lacks the polish of other smartwatches. Now, if you want to talk about the S3 from Samsung, then I definitely think there's a big opportunity from Samsung to kind of fix things too. It seems like if I could take the hardware from Samsung and then take the software more polished from LG and make one watch, that would be the best smartwatch possible. But in the world of technology, you have to live with flaws until the next version comes out, and then the next version comes out, and all that stuff. So with the LG G Watch, I do think there's an opportunity for Android to really get Android 2.0 or even 2.1 at this point to more polished when the big dogs start making their watch. When Motorola makes a watch, and then when Huawei makes a watch, I really hope the software matures a bit more. I really like the software, but I can't love it yet due to the bugs and due to the issues. And one more thing that I kind of want to note, and this is kind of a side note, that I ended up getting this watch banged up a lot. But compared to my S3 watch, Frontier, that I've worn much longer and I've hit it a lot more, it looks perfect. So there's definitely some ruggedness issues with this watch. I mean, I did tap it a couple times when moving and, going through life. I mean, it's a watch. It's going to hit walls. It's going to, things like that are going to happen. But this watch looks like a 2-year-old watch as much as I've banged it up and as much as it's really showing the dents. So something too, if you're clumsy, if you are someone that kind of just, kind of don't baby themselves and baby their hands when they have watches on, and that's something you should really think about too. The screen looks fine, the Gorilla Glass is holding up, but just the bezels and just the trimming around the actual watch is what is really getting scuffed up. Anyways guys, that's all I have for you today. I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and also if you're still watching this video, say banana, banana, banana in the comments. Also, Teresa, you're the best AT&T rep ever. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Oh, hey guys, by the way, if you're still watching this video and you're a YouTuber with less than 5,000 subs, send me an email with the subject line unknown and send me a 30-second clip advertising your channel. I'm going to make a video of the top unknown YouTubers under 5,000 subscribers. Send me that video as soon as you can, and I'll make a video really soon showcasing your YouTube channel. See ya.
KTTN, say it again. Tell a friend that it's him again. Yo, real talk, opinions gon' be sharper than 4K. Scope squad, eat it up, simmer it, saute. Ninja got reviews and rants galore. You ain't never seen a channel like this before. No hashtag.